Right now, Michael Chandler is ranked 7th in the UFC lightweight division. Most MMA fans were shocked when, in his debut, he was immediately offered to be a backup for the title fight between Khabib and Gaethje. Why does UFC management think so highly of him? Michael Chandler Jr. was born on April 24, 1986, in High Ridge, Missouri, in an ordinary American family. This isn't the kind of story where a guy from poverty fought his way up. On the contrary, Michael's entire life is a perfect balance of moderate success and moral values. As the second child in the family, he became the main source of pride for his parents. In every discipline he competed in, Chandler was, at worst, in second place. He had medals in American football, and in wrestling, he took silver. But when it came to entering college, Michael's main trait became apparent: his intellect and awareness. He understood that, in terms of size, he was a bit small for American football and that the competition would be too tough in the future. So he decided to fully focus on wrestling. Thus, while competing for the University of Missouri, he crossed paths with famous fighters like Tyron Woodley, Ben Askren, and many others. Over 4 years at university, Michael managed to rack up a total of 100 wins. But along with those victories came 40 losses. That was enough to make him a Division I wrestler. The result was good, but again, not enough to be the best in the country. And once again, Chandler's intellect came through. He understood that time was passing, and the chances of making it to the Olympics were becoming slimmer. So, in 2009, he decided to transition to MMA, and interestingly, at the same time, Woodley and Askren were also making their debuts in mixed martial arts. A couple of months of training, and the MMA world got another wrestler with an overhand, but with one distinction. Take any such wrestler and double his speed. That's how you get Michael Chandler. A takedown, quick and powerful ground and pound, and his first victory in the bag. That was enough to get him into Strikeforce on Tyron Woodley's undercard. And after 2 more finishes, Chandler found his home in Bellator. He would spend the next 10 years of his life there, make a name for himself, and help the promotion grow. But interestingly, his first 2 fights in Bellator were at the catch weight of 165 pounds. But the result was the same: ground and pound and submissions. After that, he would compete for the first time in a lightweight tournament, where, of course, he was the major underdog. It was hard to expect a serious result from a guy who had been doing MMA for just over a year. But Michael Chandler decided that his main opponent wasn't the fighters in the Grand Prix, but time itself. So he aimed to quickly climb to the top of Bellator. In just a couple of months, he defeated March and Held, Lloyd Woodard, and Patrick E. Pitbull Ferry. His victory over the latter sparked a rivalry between the Ferry brothers and Chandler. But before that, Michael had to face the king of the underground, Eddie Alvarez. In just a few months in Bellator, Chandler was already a Grand Prix champion, which gave him the opportunity to fight the lightweight champion, Alvarez. It's safe to say that bookmakers didn't give much of a chance to the young wrestler with an overhand against a true MMA veteran and, at the time, Bellator's face. But Michael Chandler said, "Hold my overhand," and unleashed it on Alvarez, which marked the beginning of the best fight in Bellator history. 24-year-old Michael Chandler, and at that point, the undefeated Eddie Alvarez in Bellator, put on a real war. It seemed that due to his inexperience, Michael would give in during the championship rounds, but no. Thus, he became the Bellator lightweight champion and earned the nickname Iron. After such a bright title conquest, there followed 3 more confident title defenses, in which he finished all his opponents. But the former champion, Eddie Alvarez, sought revenge and made it to the title fight. It seemed impossible to replicate the masterpiece they created in the first fight. But the rematch was just as epic, and this time, the fight went to the judges, where, by a split decision, Iron Michael Chandler lost for the first time. After winning the title, Eddie Alvarez immediately moved on to the UFC. Following his first loss, Michael decided to take a 6-month break and focus on his personal life. During this time, he married the woman he had only been texting with for the first 2 years of their relationship. After the wedding, when his personal life was on the rise, Michael decided to bring his career back to the top in Bellator. In May, he returned in a fight for the interim title against the unknown Will Brooks. It seemed like history was repeating itself, with Chandler now playing the role of the veteran and the face of Bellator, while his opponent was the young prospect. Unfortunately, history did repeat itself. Michael lost by a split decision to the young Brooks, but the fight was so close that Bellator arranged a rematch. This time, the fight was for the undisputed title. Many were convinced that Chandler would claim the title this time, but what happened in the end stunned everyone.
Майкл Чендлер нокаутирован. Уилл Брукс неоспоримый чемпион Bellator. Удивительно.
2014 was the worst year of Iron Michael's career. He suffered 3 consecutive losses, one of which was by knockout, but he didn't earn the nickname Iron for nothing. In 2015, Chandler came back even more fired up and hungry for victory, easily defeating everyone in his path and making it to the title fight. But instead of the expected Will Brooks, he faced Patrick E. Pitbull Ferry. While Michael was making his way back to the top, Brooks followed in Alvarez's footsteps and also moved to the UFC. But one should not underestimate Patrick E. He had wanted to get revenge on Chandler since the Grand Prix, where Michael won by decision. This was exactly what Pitbull was talking about. Real fighters finish their opponents. Michael sent Patrick E's mustache flying to the upper rows of the arena and reclaimed his title, after which he successfully defended it against former UFC champion Benson Henderson. The first round became one of the brightest moments in Iron's career. Unfortunately for his opponent, Michael decided to showcase everything he had learned in wrestling and impressed everyone with a suplex over his own body. But it was in this fight that his main problem became apparent. If Chandler doesn't finish his opponent, he becomes so exhausted that he just lies on them, hoping for a judge's decision. Listen, in that fight with Benson, I kind of went crazy. I threw everything I could in the first round, and I was so tired I couldn't walk. I came to my corner and said, "The fight's over," and my coach said, "Are you out of your mind? There are still 4 rounds left." I was so tired I just forgot the whole round and kept trying to lay on him, Chandler said. Although Michael may sometimes show sudden bouts of gloom, he is unwavering in his dedication, and this is something the promotion truly valued. All Bellator champions took the title to move on to the UFC, but Chandler won the title every time and stayed with the promotion, even though it seemed like he would eventually move on to the biggest promotion in the world. But suddenly, Michael became the first notable victim of a low kick to the calf. Brent Primus knocked out a nerve near his knee, and Chandler simply couldn't stand on his leg, causing the referee to stop the fight, and Michael lost his title again. But remember, this is Bellator, and the shocked and angry Chandler tried to sit in his corner, but the commissioner decided at the last moment to take away his chair. That's what frustration looks like. After such a strange loss, Michael needed time with his family to recover. At the same time, he and his wife adopted an African-American child, and now the new dad Chandler returned to Bellator, sweeping through everyone in his path. He demanded a title shot. "Brad Primus, I'm coming for you," Michael said. On fight night, Chandler was determined to prove that he was better at everything. He outstruck and outwrestled the champion and became the record holder for title wins in Bellator 3. But there was no time to celebrate, as Patrick E. and Patricio wanted revenge for the knockout, and Bellator decided to set up a champion versus champion fight. Patricio was moving up from featherweight to claim his second title, while Michael wanted to end the feud with the Pitbull brothers once and for all. One of the most hyped fights in Bellator history ended in the very first round. Patricio managed to get revenge for his brother and also brutally knocked out Chandler. It seemed like the end of Michael's career, and the UFC was definitely out of reach for him. But he decided not to take a break. In his next fight, he extinguished his opponent, and then came a rematch with Benson, who couldn't even make it through one round. And here Chandler showed his awareness, realizing that he was already 34 and had achieved everything in Bellator. He was ready to take the risk and make it to the biggest MMA league. That was Michael Chandler's journey to the UFC.